My beloved children, on this sacred moment as my words reach into the depths of your hearts, I come to you not just as the Mother of God, but as your mother, a presence of infinite tenderness and understanding in your daily lives. In these times of unprecedented connection yet profound loneliness, I reach across the digital waves and physical distances to embrace each of you with a love that knows no bounds. I see you, my precious ones, in all your beautiful complexity, challenging circumstances. I see the young professional in Tokyo, scrolling through social media at 2 a.m., heart-hatching for meaningful connection. I see the single parent in London, exhausted after another long day, wondering if anyone notices their silent sacrifices. I see the teenager in Sao Paulo, feeling out of place in their own skin, yearning to be truly understood. I see the elderly gentleman in New York, surrounded by the city's bustle, yet feeling invisible to the rushing crowds. Let me share with you a truth that has echoed through centuries, yet remains as fresh as morning dew. You are never alone. Just as I carried Jesus beneath my heart for 9 months, feeling his every movement, sharing his every breath, I carry each of you in my maternal heart. Every tear you shed in secret, every silent prayer you whisper in the dark, every moment of joy and sorrow, I am there holding you in love that never ends. Remember that first Christmas night in Bethlehem, far from home, without the comfort of familiar faces or proper shelter. I too knew what it meant to feel vulnerable and alone. Yet in that moment of apparent isolation, heaven and earth united in celebration of divine love made manifest. Like many of you who face moments of uncertainty and solitude, I discovered that what seemed like abandonment was actually an invitation in a deeper communion with divine presence. Let me tell you about Maria, a young nurse in Mexico City. Working the night shift in the pediatric ward, she often felt overwhelmed by the weight of responsibility and loneliness. One particularly difficult night, as she sat beside a critically ill child, she remembered my presence. Placing her hand over her heart, she whispered, "Mother Mary, I need you." In that moment, she felt a warmth spread through her body, a gentle reminder that she was not alone in her sacred work of healing. In your modern world, with its relentless pace and constant demands for attention, loneliness has taken new forms. You may have hundreds of online friends yet yearn for one authentic conversation. You might share daily updates about your life, yet feel that no one truly knows your heart. You may be constantly connected through technology, yet feel disconnected from genuine human warmth. Here is your first practice for transforming isolation into sacred connection, what I call the morning heart opening. Begin before you touch any digital device. Sit quietly in your bed or favorite chair. Place your right hand over your heart, feeling its steady rhythm. Take 3 deep, conscious breaths. With each inhale, imagine my maternal love filling your lungs, your heart, your entire being. With each exhale, release your fears, your anxieties, your sense of isolation. Softly whisper these words, "Mother Mary, I am your beloved child. In this moment and always, I am held in love." Let me share how this simple practice transformed David's life. A successful executive in Singapore, he seemed to have everything: career success, material comfort, social status. Yet each night, he would return to an empty apartment feeling hollow inside. One day, after reading about my maternal presence, he began this morning practice. At first, it felt mechanical, just another item on his to-do list. But gradually, something began to shift. He started noticing small moments of grace throughout his day. A colleague's kind gesture, a beautiful sunset, an unexpected moment of peace in traffic. For those of you carrying heavy professional responsibilities, I understand how the weight of expectations can create a profound sense of isolation. Whether you're making crucial decisions that affect many lives, managing teams through challenging times, or simply trying to maintain your integrity in a competitive environment, remember that you do not carry these burdens alone. Consider the story of Dr. Sarah Chen, a brilliant researcher in Boston. Leading a team working on breakthrough medical treatments, she felt crushed by the pressure of deadlines, funding concerns, and the hopes of countless patients depending on her work. Late one night in her lab, surrounded by data and unanswered questions, she remembered my presence. Taking a moment to step away from her microscope, she sat quietly and opened her heart to my maternal guidance. This leads me to share the sacred pause practice, a way to find connection amid your busiest moments. First, set 3 specific times during your day for a sacred pause. Morning between 6-9 a.m., midday at 2 p.m., and evening 6-9 p.m. During each pause, take 5 conscious breaths. On the first breath, acknowledge your current feelings without judgment. On the second, remember my loving presence. On the third, feel your connection to all who share similar struggles. On the fourth, send love to someone in need. On the fifth, receive the love that constantly surrounds you. Let me tell you how this practice helped Michael, an emergency room doctor in Chicago. During the height of the pandemic, overwhelmed by the constant flow of critical patients, he began taking these sacred pauses between cases. In those brief moments, connecting with my presence helped him maintain his compassion and clarity. He discovered that these small moments of spiritual connection actually made him more efficient and present for his patients. To my children struggling with mental health challenges, depression, anxiety, trauma, or any form of emotional pain, I want you to know that your suffering is seen and held in love. Just as I stood beneath the cross, my heart pierced with sorrow yet sustained by divine love, I stand with you in your darkest moments. Here is a practice specifically for times of emotional distress, what I call the gentle return. Begin by finding a quiet space, even if it's just your bathroom or car. Place both hands over your heart, one on top of the other. Feel the warmth of your own touch. Breathe slowly and naturally, whispering with each exhale, Mother Mary, hold me in your peace. Don't try to fix or change your feelings. Simply allow them to be held in loving presence. Repeat this practice as often as needed throughout your day. Let me share about Isabella, a young artist in Florence who struggled with severe anxiety. She began practicing the gentle return whenever panic started to rise. At first, it seemed too simple to help with such overwhelming feelings. But gradually, she noticed that having this practice gave her a sense of agency, something concrete she could do instead of being helpless in the face of anxiety. Over time, she began to feel my maternal presence as a constant companion, not just during formal practice times. For those of you raising children in these challenging times, I understand the unique form of loneliness that can come with parenthood. The constant giving, the weight of responsibility, the worry about making the right choices, all of this can create a deep sense of isolation, even when you're rarely physically alone. Consider Maria Elena, a single mother in Buenos Aires, working remotely while caring for 2 young children. She often felt overwhelmed and alone. She began what I call the family heart circle, a simple practice that transformed their evening routine. Each night before bed, she and her children would sit in a circle holding hands. Each person would share one joy, one challenge, and one hope for tomorrow. They would end by saying together, "We are held in Mother Mary's love." This simple ritual created a sacred space for authentic connection and emotional support. To my beloved children navigating the complex world of relationships, whether seeking partnership, healing from heartbreak, or working to deepen existing bonds, I want you to know that you are supported in this sacred journey of the heart. Let me share the story of James and Mai Lin in Vancouver. Coming from different cultural and religious backgrounds, they faced significant challenges in their relationship. Family opposition, cultural misunderstandings, and their own fears created walls between them. One evening, feeling particularly discouraged, they discovered my maternal presence as a bridge of understanding. They began what I call the Unity in Love practice. Each evening, they would sit together in silence for 5 minutes, holding hands and imagining being wrapped in my maternal mantle of love. They would then take turns sharing their deepest hopes and fears, not trying to fix or change anything, but simply listening with open hearts. They would end by saying together, "Mother Mary, Help us love as you love. This practice gradually transformed their relationship, helping them find ways to honor both their differences and their shared journey. For those of you feeling lost in your life's purpose or questioning your path, I want to share something I learned during those 9 months of carrying Jesus in my womb. Sometimes the most profound purpose unfolds in ways we could never have planned or imagined. Remember how my own life changed with one word of yes to divine invitation. Here is the sacred direction practice for times of uncertainty. Begin by creating a small altar or sacred space in your home. It needn't be elaborate, perhaps a candle, a meaningful image, or a simple cross. Each morning, sit before this space and light your candle, saying, "Mother Mary, illuminate my path." Take 3 deep breaths, then speak aloud your current situation, your hopes, and your fears. Don't try to figure everything out. Simply open your heart to guidance. And by saying, "I trust in divine timing and direction," let me tell you about Ahmed, a young software engineer in Dubai. After achieving what seemed like all his goals, prestigious job, comfortable lifestyle, respected position, he felt inexplicably empty. Through this practice of sacred direction, he began to recognize a deeper calling to use his skills for humanitarian causes. The path unfolded gradually, not in dramatic revelations, but in small nudges and opportunities that he learned to recognize through daily spiritual connection. To my children carrying the weight of past regrets or shame, those moments you replay in your mind, wishing you had chosen differently, I want you to know that no mistake places you beyond the reach of love. Just as I stood by Jesus in his darkest hour, never condemning but always loving, I stand with you in your moments of self-doubt and regret. Here is the healing memory practice. Find a quiet moment and comfortable position. Place one hand on your heart and one on your abdomen. Breathe deeply into both hands. Bring to mind the memory that troubles you, but imagine viewing it through my eyes of unconditional love. See yourself in that moment with compassion, understanding the fears or limitations that influenced your choices. Then speak these words, "Mother Mary, help me learn from this moment and release its hold on my heart." Visualize the memory being wrapped in golden light and transformed into wisdom. Consider the transformation of Sophia, a teacher in Madrid who carried deep shame about past addiction. Through this practice of healing memory, she began to see her journey not as a source of shame, but as a wellspring of compassion for others struggling with similar challenges. Her past became not a burden, but a gift she could use to help others find hope and healing. For those of you serving others, teachers, healthcare workers, caregivers, social workers, I understand the unique form of loneliness that can come from constantly giving while feeling depleted. Remember how I served as the first tabernacle, carrying divine love into the world. You too are vessels of grace, but you must also receive to continue giving. Here is the renewal of spirit practice for those who serve others. Begin each day by visualizing yourself standing beneath my maternal mantle, being filled with divine light and love. Throughout your day, take micro moments of renewal, perhaps between patients, during class transitions, or while washing your hands. In these brief moments, touch your heart and remember that you are not the source but the channel of love. End each day with a gentle review, not focusing on what you could have done better, but celebrating the ways divine love flowed through your service. Let me share about Nurse Alina in Barcelona, who works in pediatric oncology. Facing daily encounters with children's suffering and parents' grief, she found herself building emotional walls to protect her heart. Through the renewal of spirit practice, she discovered she could remain open-hearted without becoming overwhelmed. She learned to see herself as held within a larger circle of caring, supported by divine love, even as she extended that love to others. To my children immersed in the digital world, whether creating content, managing social media, developing technology, or simply navigating daily online life, I understand the unique challenges you face, the constant pressure to be available, to present a perfect image, to keep up with endless notifications can leave you feeling paradoxically more connected yet more alone than ever. Consider Thomas, a social media manager in Berlin, managing multiple accounts and dealing with constant online negativity. He felt increasingly disconnected from authentic human connection. He began what I call the digital boundaries practice at first. Create sacred bookends to your digital day. Before touching any device in the morning, take 3 conscious breaths and set an intention. May my online presence today reflect divine love. Throughout the day, pause before posting or responding. Is this serving love and truth? End your digital day with a clear cutoff time, releasing online tensions and connecting with physical presence. For those facing financial struggles or career uncertainties, I want you to know that your worth is not measured by your bank account or job title. Remember how Joseph and I faced material insecurity, even becoming refugees in Egypt. Yet divine providence worked in unexpected ways. Here is the abundance trust practices. Begin each morning by lighting a candle representing divine providence. Speak aloud your specific needs and concerns, knowing they are heard. Then recall 3 ways you have experienced provision in the past, perhaps through unexpected help, a timely opportunity, or the simple gift of having enough for today. And with these words, Mother Mary, I trust in divine care for my needs. Let me tell you about Marcus in Cape Town, who lost his business during the economic downturn. Through the darkness of bankruptcy and shame, he began this practice of trusting in divine providence. Gradually, new opportunities emerged, not in the way he expected, but in ways that led him to create a more meaningful and sustainable business model that helped others in similar situations. To those struggling with chronic illness or pain, whether visible or invisible, I want you to know that your suffering is held in love. Just as I maintained faith through the anguish of watching my son's passion, I stand with you in your moments of physical and emotional pain. Here is the comfort in suffering practice of find a comfortable position and imagine being cradled in my maternal arms. Place your hands gently on the area of pain or distress. Breathe slowly, allowing each exhale to carry your pain into my loving presence. You don't need to force anything to change. Simply allow yourself to be held in love. If tears come, let them flow as a holy river of release. End by saying, Mother Mary, help me find peace in this present moment. I'll consider the journey of Sarah in Sydney, who lives with chronic fatigue syndrome. Through this practice, she discovered that, while she couldn't control her body's limitations, she could experience a deeper form of peace and purpose within them. Her suffering became not just a source of isolation, but a wellspring of compassion for others facing similar challenges. For those of you feeling excluded or marginalized, whether because of your background, beliefs, appearance, or any other aspect of your identity, I want you to know that my love embraces you fully and unconditionally. Remember how Jesus reached out to those whom society had pushed to the margins. That same divine love flows through my maternal heart to you. Let me share about Priya in Mumbai, a young woman born into one faith tradition while feeling deeply called to another. Facing family pressure and community judgment, she felt torn between authenticity and belonging. Through what I call the sacred authenticity practice, she found a way to honor both her truth and her relationships. Begin each day by standing before a mirror, looking into your own eyes with compassion. Place your hand on your heart and say, I am created in divine love, exactly as I am. Throughout your day, when faced with judgment or exclusion, imagine my maternal mantle wrapping around you like a protective shield. End each day by naming 3 ways you expressed your authentic self with courage and love. To my children in the creative arts, whether you're designing digital media, painting, writing, making music, or expressing creativity in any form, I want you to know that your creative gifts are a reflection of divine creativity. When you feel blocked, doubting your gifts, or comparing yourself to others, remember that each authentic expression of creativity is sacred. Here is the creative flow practice. Before beginning your creative work, light a candle or create some marker of sacred space. Take 3 deep breaths, inviting my presence into your creative process. As you work, pause periodically to ask, Mother Mary, help me create from a place of authentic truth. When doubt or fear arises, place your hand on your heart and remember that your creativity is not about perfection, but about authentic expression. Consider Giovanni, a musician in Rome who struggled with perfectionism that was blocking his artistic expression. Through this practice, he learned to see his music not as a product to be judged, but as a sacred offering of his unique gifts. His compositions began to flow more naturally, touching hearts in ways his previous technically perfect but emotionally guarded work never had. For those of you carrying the sacred responsibility of leadership, whether in business, community organizations, education, or family life, I understand the unique loneliness that can come with making difficult decisions that affect others' lives. Remember how I had to make the profound decision to say yes to divine invitation, trusting in guidance beyond my full understanding. Here is the leadership wisdom practice. Start each day in silent reflection, asking for clarity and compassion in your decisions. Before important meetings or decisions, take 3 conscious breaths and whisper, Mother Mary, guide my leadership with wisdom and love. After difficult interactions or decisions, release the outcomes to divine care while maintaining responsibility for your choices. Let me tell you about Dr. Lai in Shanghai, a hospital administrator facing impossible decisions during a health crisis. Through this practice of leadership wisdom, she found a way to balance necessary hard choices with deep compassion for all affected. She discovered that acknowledging her own vulnerability while trusting in divine guidance made her a more effective and humane leader. To those struggling with addiction or destructive patterns, whether with substances, behaviors, or thought patterns, I want you to know that you are not defined by your struggles. My love for you is not diminished by your challenges. Rather, it reaches out to support your journey toward wholeness. Here is the Recovery Trust practice. Begin each day by visualizing yourself wrapped in my maternal mantle of love and protection. When cravings or destructive urges arise, immediately reach out, both to human support systems and to my spiritual presence. Breathe deeply and say, Mother Mary, hold me in this moment of challenge. Remember that each small step toward health is sacred. Each attempt to begin again is blessed. Consider Michael in Dublin, who struggled with alcohol addiction for years. Through this practice of recovery trust, combined with professional help and support groups, he found strength beyond his own to maintain sobriety. He learned that vulnerability, far from being weakness, became his pathway to authentic strength and connection. For those who feel their prayers go unanswered, who wonder if anyone is listening to their deepest hopes and fears, I want to share something I learned in my own journey of faith. Sometimes the answer comes not in the form we expect, but in the strength to endure, in the friend who appears at just the right moment, in the small signs of grace that we might miss if we're looking only for grand gestures. Here is the trust in divine timing practice. Begin each day by offering your deepest desires to divine care. Throughout your day, notice small signs of grace, a moment of unexpected beauty, a kind word from a stranger, a sudden insight or feeling of peace. End each day by remembering that divine love works in ways beyond our understanding, in perfect timing that we may not always comprehend. Let me share about Rachel in Jerusalem, who prayed for years for healing in her family relationships. While the dramatic reconciliation she hoped for didn't happen, she began to notice subtle shifts, a softening in her own heart, small moments of connection, unexpected opportunities for new understanding. Through practicing trust in divine timing, she discovered that healing was happening in ways she hadn't imagined possible. As we draw near to the end of our time together, my beloved children, I want to leave you with this eternal truth: you are never alone because you are eternally loved. This is not just a comforting thought, but the deepest reality of your existence. Whether you feel this love or not in any given moment doesn't change its reality. just as the sun continues to shine even when hidden by clouds. Here is my final gift to you, the integration practice for daily living 1. Sacred morning rising 5-10 minutes. Begin before touching any device. Sit in your sacred space. Light a candle if possible. Connect with my maternal presence. Set your daily intention. Choose your key practice for the day 2. Meaningful transitions of 1-2 minutes each. Between activities. Before meetings. After challenging interactions. During commutes. Brief touch points with divine presence. 3. Sacred evening close at 10-15 minutes. Return to your sacred space. Review your day with compassion. Release unfinished business. Set intentions for tomorrow. Rest in maternal love. Remember, my cherished ones, these practices are not rigid rules but loving invitations. Adapt them to your culture, schedule, and personal needs. Trust grows through consistent, gentle practice, not perfect performance. Let me share about Mai Ling in Singapore, who adapted these practices to her busy life as a single mother and business owner. She found sacred moments while waiting for her children's activities, during her subway commute, and in brief pauses between meetings. In Cairo, Ahmed integrated these practices with his daily prayers, finding deeper meaning in both traditional and contemporary spiritual expressions. My beloved children, as you return to your daily lives, carry these eternal truths in your heart. You are never alone. My presence accompanies you in every breath. You are infinitely loved, beyond any measure or condition. You are eternally held in an embrace that never ends. Your struggles are seen with eyes of deepest compassion. Your efforts are blessed. Even when you feel you're falling short, your presence in this world matters, and we meet possibly know, and you'll meet more than again in prayer, and to impossibly again in prayer. Remember, trust is your inheritance, love is your foundation, hope is your guiding star, peace is your birthright. May my maternal blessing rest upon each of you. May you trust in the love that never fails. May you find peace in my constant presence. May you know you are eternally cherished. May you rest in divine providence. May you grow in wisdom and grace. May you share your light with the world. May you remember, always and forever, that you are never alone. Carry these truths in your heart, knowing that I, your heavenly mother, walk beside you always, in every culture, in every situation, in every moment. For as surely as I held Jesus in my arms, I hold each of you in my maternal heart now and for all eternity. Amen.